We'll try to summarize.
Okay, now it's starting.
This is Sarah's first YouTube live. I don't think she's ever done it. I do lives every Tuesday, Thursday, but I think this is a good lesson because in families and relationships, you may know things and assume that there's Sarah sitting right there. Assume that others know it and they don't. Actually, I'll point at Sarah based on your perspective right there.
Yes.
And I just thought that she knows this, but she didn't know it. So we've been sitting there chatting for 20 minutes, not being live.
So if you want to hear the rest of it, hop over to the Clubhouse app and we'll have a replay.
Yes.
And you can listen to the rest.
Yeah, for all you
I've got the
YouTubers
link
out there,
below.
thank you so much for joining us and the replays of this episode or this little chat, this little art lab chat. It stands for Accurate Realistic Thoughts, Life Affirming Beliefs, Art Lab, and where we investigate the art of healthy living. You can get the whole replay on audio on Clubhouse. Just join us. And we also, I actually did not mention as of yet, you can join our little chat community. Literally, it's a community put on by an app called Community by texting, sign me up or put your email. That'd be a good idea. Just put your email in it in a text message to 1-870-686-4196, 1-870-686-4196. And remember, if you're going to do a YouTube Live, you have to click the live button.
Especially if you're using Ecamm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't be. It's an Ecamm thing. But that's kind of a safeguard because it doesn't want you going live. Sarah, when you said that earlier, I was bending over, messing with the mics and everything. You said we're live, and I thought to myself, "You hit the live button with me
I did
bending
not.
over like this."
There was a countdown, and
On
my
the
brain was
camera?
like, "Oh, it's gonna come on right."
No,
when the
it's not on that. But it's a cool feature. By the way, we will have tonight QIQ, and that will be at 7 o'clock tonight. And if you'll just subscribe to that channel, you'll go ahead and get the alerts. And that is a Jeopardy-style, psychologically nutritious game show that we stream live every Tuesday, Thursday. We're trying it out at 7 o'clock. We were doing it at 9, but we're kind of doing a little bit of experimentation. And you can let us know what you think about that. And if you have a question you'd like for us to answer, here's how we do that. You send us the question through 1-870-686-4196. And we will answer it live on the air, asking other viewers to guess your question. And it's fun for people to tune in and see if they really got it right. But we will provide the answer live without the question until people have a chance to see if, like Jeopardy, they can come up with that. But we're chatting today about one of the biggest problems with depression, the thing that keeps it going, and that is behavioral deactivation. And Heather, who is sitting right, to y'all's right over there. I get on my camera right. She's right down there, and okay. It's really weird because I'm actually pointing the opposite direction of Heather, but on the camera she's right there, and it went to a different screen.
Yes, I was going to show him the Articam, but it's not.
It's not hooked up.
Not working at the moment.
But we're chatting about behavioral deactivation, which keeps depression going, and we've established already that what you want to do is not base your behavior on an emotion. You're sad, get up and move. You're depressed, get up and move. You're anxious, get up and move. Keep doing the healthy things in your life, which are healthy. And it's also a good time to start doing some healthy things. So we're going to do a little bit of brain rewind, and y'all just repeat everything you said already.
Yeah, okay. I'll summarize it. So basically, it's called Spring into Action because it's a beautiful time of year right now. We've got the beautiful weather. It's a good time to start healthy new habits, which actually, every time's a good time to start a healthy new habit. But we have the benefit of beautiful weather right now, so get out there and get some healthy habits started. Whether it's gardening or running or walking or any form of exercise, fishing with friends, kayaking, whatever it is.
And that is so much healthier than popping a pill. We talked also earlier about pharmaceuticals. You can, of course, this replay is going to be on Clubhouse, but I'll repeat it for the YouTube fans out there and followers, is that the human race survived for 99.99999% of the entire history of the human race without psychoactives, which is good evidence that it is possible to live without psychotropic psychoactives, same term there. And you don't necessarily need a pill for everything. As a matter of fact, pills will often get in the way of living a healthier life. And at some point, I remember even the great Aaron Beck said that at his 90th, he lived to be 100, and at his 90th party, his get-together, he said that at some point we find that people need to get off their psychoactives in order to gain the full benefits of psychotherapy, and in this case, we're all CBTers here, cognitive behavioral therapy, because in a way it's a bit like a crutch. Now, if it's for psychosis, no. Also, never do it without the supervision of a physician. Mm-hmm. And if you have a physician that is not amenable to that, and they're just a Kool-Aid drinking clinician that believes that everybody should be on a pill, then maybe you want to check around, because there's some that will help you do things such as titrate at an incredibly small dose. If you are going to titrate, that titrate means, reduce slowly. Never let any doctor cold turkey you off of any medication. That is always a mistake, and is either the ignorance of the physician, or it is because they are inattentive, or sometimes, I hate to say it, just plain lazy. And there are plenty of protocols on the internet for titrating medication slowly, incrementally, based on the half-life of the drug, and that is what it should be based on. You can't just titrate the same all across the board. It should be based on the half-life of the drug. And there's also water titration, and you can look that stuff up. Talk to your pharmacist, talk to your physician, but find one that's friendly to that kind of philosophy. Because sadly, there are physicians out there that they just think that everybody needs to be on a drug. And if you're not on a drug these days, it's almost as if you're not normal, which is really a very sad belief to have indeed. Okay, guys, what else? We have a few minutes left to go. We do these every week from 12 o'clock until 12:45 or 12:50, and we have about 10 minutes to go. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat, and we'll be glad to answer that. And again, we'll be doing this every Tuesday from here on out. We were doing it Wednesdays, and it wasn't a live stream, but from here on out, it'll be every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, unless we're taking a break, or even we clinicians need to take a break or go on vacation sometimes. But typically, it's every Tuesday at noon, and we'll be rotating the platforms. We're doing it on YouTube this time, and we'll try to put up a notice, and we may do some on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn, because we have communities in each of those locations, and we want to serve each of those well. Other thoughts about that you find are a great idea for when people are down in the dumps of depression, so to speak?
Well, and another thing we talked about too is a misconception is that you have to wait until you have the motivation to do something before you get started doing it, and that's completely backwards. The best thing to do is to get active. When you don't want to be active and you're feeling depressed, get active. The other thing I've encountered too, and we talked about how everybody here has had periods of time where we've all struggled with depression. We've experienced depression. Just because you get active, if you don't experience joy right away, it doesn't mean that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Keep doing it. Be active regardless.
Well, and to be active, to be clear, it's not as easy to just get out there and do it. No. Because all behavior begins in the thought process. The key is deciding your thought process. And that begins with deciding, okay, I admit that my favorite thing may not be getting up and going for a walk, but since there is value in that, even though I don't have the feelings I prefer, since I find value, since there is value in that, that's what I'm going to do. So behavior is based on finding value in the behavior, the proposed behavior, before you do it. It's going to do no good for Doc Heath to say, go juggle, if you yourself find no value in juggling. or shooting hoops. There's a basketball goal right over there, or any behavior. But almost any behavior will work as long as it's a healthy behavior. Just don't base it on an emotion. Heather had mentioned earlier emotional reasoning. It doesn't matter what emotion you're having. Have your emotion, whichever one, any of them. Just whatever emotion you want to have. But make your choices as far as the behavior you're going to engage in based on evidence of that behavior being a healthy behavior.
Yes.
That's where motivation comes from. Discipline, what is that? Well, discipline is a pattern in the brain that gets created after a behavioral repetition based on finding value. So in other words, discipline is built on the back of motivation. Motivation is built on the back of our thought processes. And motivation can be either in a healthy direction or an unhealthy direction. So let this kind of canoodle your noodle. Everyone has motivation. Everybody has motivation. But some is in a healthy direction and some is in an unhealthy direction. To stay in bed, you have to have motivation. To stay in bed. To do nothing, you have to find value on which or out of which grows motivation, but it's just unhealthy. The only thing that's up to you is in which direction am I going to aim my motivation, and that begins with thought processes. Don't wait around on discipline. Discipline comes after a repetition of behavior that you are motivated to engage in based on your thought processes. Always begin with your thought processes, and it might help to write it down. I'm going to take a walk for 5 minutes that way, and then I'm going to stop and walk back the 5 minutes. That's a 10-minute walk, and I'm going to do that because of what value, and do some points because of this and this and this and this. It's a good example to the folks that are watching me, my children or whoever. It's healthy for me physically. It's healthy for me psychologically. It's a healthy pattern to create. It's going to help resolve this depression. I mean, what meaning are you finding in it? And get clear with the meaning, and the rest takes care of the rest. We have a few more minutes to go, about 6 minutes to go, and I want to tackle this. Let's, as we say, get real as if we're not real. We're not plasticized figures here or cut out cardboard standees. We're real people. But let's get down to specifics with some distorted thoughts even we clinicians experience when we're having difficult moments. What are some of those distorted thoughts?
I'm never going to get all of this done.
I'll never get it all done. What else?
I can't do this. I can't accomplish this. It's impossible. I can't do this.
Okay.
I'm going to sound stupid.
I'm going to sound stupid, as if stupid was a sound. Think about that. And also with what you guys are also saying, I'm never going to get it done. Well, maybe you won't. Mm-hmm. But what's going to happen?
Right.
Well, around here, if you don't get it done, we tie you to a post and whip you with a rubber hose. It happens often.
Send help. No.
Yeah, send help now. No, nobody call 911. We don't do that. What happens when you don't get something done? It's different everywhere, but I don't know. How big a catastrophe is it not getting something done? And whatever it is that you plan to get done, is there somebody you can talk to about not getting it done? Can you ask for help? Can you level this in terms of how urgent it is, and not everything can be urgent? I mean, what else can be done? And then, how do you know you won't get it done if you've not started and worked at it and been diligent with it and had a good game plan? Those are important, but anything deeper?
I'm a
Heather?
failure. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah.
I'm a failure.
Oh, yes, I'm a failure.
Other people have better things to say than I do.
Yes, my stuff is less important than others. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, when I get sick, I seem to struggle more, and it's kind of like I just need to quit everything, and
Yeah.
I have no business doing what I'm doing, and
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
I
stuff.
also, I've, as you've often heard me say, my wife and I have been together for this summer be 40 years. But when I experience depression, I think all kinds of things. This relationship isn't going to work out, divorce, suicide, running away somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Because why? The brain creates thoughts the way blizzards create snowflakes. The presence of a thought does not equal the presence of value. In other words, you can have a thought and that thought doesn't necessarily have value. You have to decide what value this thought and this thought and this one has. But be careful, because whatever value you add to it, if this fabric is the fabric of your life, that thought will make an impression based on the value you decided to assign it. So what you be careful with is don't assign a weight of value to something that it doesn't have that value. And when it comes to I'm going to go in the woods and kill myself, you can assign a value of 0.2 to that, or 0.0002, which is what I do. Just because I can think it doesn't mean it has value. I can assign very low value, if any at all, and I might assign some. I say, it's decimal points, but I'm going to assign whole number values to the healthy things. My wife loves me. My family loves me. There's value in my life. The evidence of my life being value begins with my existence. I am valuable because I exist. That's a good place to start. And but thoughts on their own have no value. Value must be assigned. Be careful how you assign it. Staying in bed is a thought. If it's 10 o'clock at night, it has a lot of value, because I think that I do better personally if I'm in bed by, 10:30 or 11, something like that. But if it's 9 a.m. and I've been there for 7-8 hours, then the thought of staying in bed has little to no value. And that's the weight it's going to have on my life, because I've not assigned it value. It's almost like psychological gravity. The earth as an object has a weight and a mass, and the mass of the planet Earth exerts a force or a impression on the fabric of space-time. There's great models out there you can see on YouTube. Saturn being larger, Jupiter being larger, exerts a greater dent on the fabric of space-time. Well, thoughts are kind of like planets in the solar system, in the universe. They exert a weight on the fabric of your life, but guess what, guys? T-ballers, Therapy Bites Art Labbers, it's up to you to assign that weight. Okay, we're about out of time. Thank you for joining us. Any concluding remarks before we're out for the day?
I don't believe so. Just remember, if we have changed times, it is at 12 p.m. on Tuesdays now, Central Standard Time. And also, like we said before, if you've just come in on this live, due to my mistake, it wasn't all on there. Go back and listen to the replay on Clubhouse. I've included the link below in the description. Thanks.
Catch us next Tuesday. Also, remember that we will have a community breakfast every Saturday at 9 a.m. and you can join that by texting, community breakfast, or actually just your email to 1-870-686-4196, 870-686-4196. It's all free. Compliments of Therapy Bites Art Lab. Catch the next episode of the podcast. That's on wherever you listen to podcasts. Let us know your thoughts. We love hearing from our listeners. Have a great week, and go out there and get active.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.